Hey folks, how's it going? This is Ryan Velasquez, and you're listening to the Front Row podcast on Monday, January 18th, 2016. Hope everybody's enjoying their long weekend. For those of you that had the day off from work today, I'm sure most of you spent the better part of your Saturday and Sunday watching four pretty good divisional round playoff games. Not necessarily competitive throughout each of those four games, but pretty good endings across the board. Hope everybody's had a chance to listen to the first three episodes of the podcast. Recorded three last week. If you missed them for whatever reason, I've included links at the bottom of the page if you're still listening from frontrowreservation.com. And you can also find all three of them on SoundCloud and my YouTube channel if you missed them for whatever reason. But four pretty good finishes. Interesting to see all four home teams win in this round, which is really pretty rare, despite the home field advantage and having the first week off to get rested up. First time since 2004 that we've seen the four home teams combined to go 4-0, and especially after what we saw last week to see all four road teams go 4-0. So kind of weird statistical year. Definitely an outlier as far as the big picture is concerned. But the four pretty good finishes. Each of the top two seeds in each conference will be playing for the Super Bowl next weekend. And as a Broncos fan, I think you have to be happy that your team is one win away from getting back into the Super Bowl. Would be the eighth trip in franchise history, which would tie them with the New England Patriots, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I don't know what could possibly be going through the minds of the leaders on that sideline to think that keeping Peyton Manning in the football game was the best option yesterday evening. I just don't. I have no idea. I can't even fathom what's going through their heads. For those of you that didn't see it for whatever reason, it's you can sum it up pretty easily. The guy can't complete a pass beyond 20 yards anymore. He just can't. And he only attempted a handful of them, and most of them were just overthrows way out of bounds. His longest completion of the day was on what should have been whistled dead as an intentional slide as he was about to get sacked. He slides, and for whatever reason, the officials don't blow the whistle just because the lineman, nobody touches him, because it clearly appears that he's sliding on purpose. Gets up, and because everybody else has thought the play is ended, he finds Emmanuel Sanders wide open, who takes it for 34 yards. That, and then a completion to Benny Fowler in the fourth quarter that had, I think Fowler watched the replay. He had about 15 yards after the catch. That was it. That's about all the downfield passing that you saw yesterday from Denver, and I just don't know how, with a straight face, anybody on the coaching staff and the front office, what have you, can say with a straight face that guy gives them the best chance to win the game. They should have lost, without question, yesterday to a Steelers team that was missing its two best offensive players, hands down. No Antonio Brown, no Le'Veon Bell. Bell's obviously been out for a while now. But if they kick a field goal on that drive where Toussaint fumbles the ball and Broncos recover, all they need is a field goal there, and that thing's over. That game is done. That was, I think it was 13-12 at that point. And if they go up by 4 points, there was no way that Denver was scoring a touchdown at all, and there was no way that they were going to be able to kick two field goals in that short amount of time that was left there. It just mind-boggling in my opinion, how just what could possibly be going through the minds of that coaching staff and and anybody involved in the front office that has a say in those matters. That Brock Osweiler was not put in the game at halftime. I just don't understand. I just don't get it. But it appears that no changes are going to be made going into next week's game against New England. And even though it's at home, if Peyton Manning is the starting quarterback, I just don't see any way that, barring some sort of catastrophic situation from the Patriots where Brady gets injured or Denver's defense just plays the best game that any defense has ever played in the history of time. I just don't see how New England doesn't watch the tape from this week and put in a game plan that virtually takes away any option the Broncos have to run the ball. And the Steelers pretty much did that from really about the second quarter on, putting 8-9 guys in the box. They knew that he couldn't throw beyond 20 yards. What do you think the Patriots are going to do with that? What do you think Bill Belichick, the best football mind we've ever seen, especially on the defensive side of the ball, is going to do when he gets his chance to go up against Denver next Sunday? It's just a no-brainer. It's just a no-brainer. You've got two quarterbacks on your roster that have starting experience now. One of them can throw the ball beyond 20 yards and complete a pass. The other one can't. So, and don't bring any sort of playoff savvy experience, any of that, any of those excuses. You just can't justify it anymore. You just can't. It's sad. There's just no way that you can tell me with a straight face that keeping the 39-year-old nerve damaged arm of his in the game is going to give the Broncos the best chance to win 2 more games this year. It's ridiculous, and it makes no sense to me. And I feel bad because I really should be more excited about being in the AFC Championship again and having a chance to win at home and go back to have a chance to win a championship. But I just don't see it. I just throughout that game yesterday, I just couldn't fathom what could possibly be going through those guys' heads as they were allowing that to happen. You start even from the beginning. You look at the first 2 of their first 3 possessions. The first one, they had great punt return. After the Steelers punted on their first possession, great return. Takes the ball, start at Pittsburgh's 30, and he wasn't even attempting to throw it deep in any way, shape, or form. No shots at the end zone at all. The defense knew it. They loaded up on the line. No running room, and it didn't help that the Denver's wide receivers dropped, by my count, 7 or 8 passes over the course of the day. Not all of those were great passes. A lot of those were could have had it, not should have had it catches. Obviously, in the NFL, you've got to catch could have had it passes. But that was not the biggest issue on the table. That's an issue. It's something that is certainly they might want to address over the course of this week. But when your quarterback can't even pretend to throw the ball downfield with any hope of completing a pass, and the defense knows it, you're just the only way that you're gonna have any chance to win is if something like the Toussaint fumble opens the door to a little bit of momentum coming back in your favor. And so I said on Twitter last night, Peyton Manning, I think he owes Toussaint and Bradley Roby, who forced the fumble. I think he owes both of them, at the very least, a steak dinner for saving him from all the headlines that he would have been reading today otherwise. Because nobody with any football watching experience could possibly come away from that game thinking that he's the best option going forward. But yeah, two of those first three possessions, they start inside the Pittsburgh 35. First one had got one first down, 11-yard pass, then three straight plays and nothing, and have to settle for a short field goal, which if you know anything about the playoffs, generally results in losing football games when you're settling for short field goals. And then the next one, they start at the 32 after a horrible punt into the wind, and just three plays and nothing, kick another short field goal. Brandon McManus really deserves a steak dinner also for the performance he put up. Kicked 5 field goals, all of them, some of them pretty long. That one right before halftime was, I think, about 51, 52. Let's take a look. 51-yard field goal. Yeah. And several of those were into the wind. Pretty windy day in Denver. 41, 51. Had a couple of chip shots, but yeah, I just if the field goal, if the Steelers kick a field goal on that possession that Toussaint coughed it up, I don't think there's any way that the Broncos somehow find a way to come back and win that one. And the Steelers, I mean, that just goes to show you how well coached and how well just managed that roster is, that they can come in on the road with their quarterback who has a separated right shoulder and just so happens to throw with his right arm, can come in and put together a performance the way he did. I mean, he threw the ball better downfield than Peyton did. I mean, that just shows you. It's just it drives me crazy. I just don't understand. But for Roethlisberger to come in, play as well as he did, that wideout core, Martavis Bryant was great. D'Angelo Williams has stepped up. Or did he even stress out? I don't know if he even dressed out. Probably didn't. That's probably why Toussaint and Jordan Todman were getting most of the carries. I guess he did not play. If he did, he didn't put up much of a stat line. But for Toussaint, who played an otherwise very good game, aside from the fumble. The wideout core stepping up without Antonio Brown. Heath Miller had a couple of plays. That defense has gotten a lot better from where they were the last 2 years. Shazier at linebacker. You say all you want about whether he's considered a dirty, quote unquote, player. That guy's going to be a star for a long time if he keeps going on the path that he's on right now. Lawrence Timmons, good to see a fellow Florence, South Carolina native continue to play at the level he's playing. I mean, the Steelers. I thought if they had gotten just 3 points on that possession, I think that game's over. So, but it wasn't, and Peyton Manning got bailed out from having to listen to all the naysayers today, who would have been correct this time around. They haven't always been correct in the past, but this year, no question about it. The Broncos won in spite of his performance, and it appears that he's going to get the start again going into Sunday's game against the Patriots. So we'll see how that goes, but it's just really only 2 possible explanations come into my mind why he is, for whatever reason, still the starting quarterback on that team. Either Kubiak, Elway, or whoever is making that decision, they either A, feel that they would somehow be disrespecting his legacy, his career, resume, what have you, whatever you want to call it. They feel that for whatever reason benching him in a playoff situation would somehow be disrespectful, which, I mean, that's that type of thinking right there, regardless of who the person is, just goes to show you why you're not the class of the league. And the only team that really seems to grasp that in all of professional sports the best is the Patriots. There's no way that if roles were switched, if Peyton was playing in New England right now and had put up a performance like that, there's no way that Belichick would possibly consider putting him back in a conference championship scenario. There's not even a chance that would happen. You talk about respect. I mean, it's just. I mean, how could you possibly think that sitting a guy down and giving your team the best chance to win a game would somehow tarnish anything he'd done in the past? Of course, it's not going to. And I think anybody with a good mind would understand that. But it's just for anybody to even suggest that. I think Deion Sanders was going on about that on NFL Network last night. I mean, just what on earth are you talking about? What are you thinking? How could it's not even related to each other? Two mutually exclusive concepts that you could possibly think that simply choosing to start the better player would tarnish the legacy, the career of the other one. He's got his numbers. That doesn't take his numbers away. He's got his three Super Bowl appearances. Excuse me. He's got his one championship. He's got his 5 MVPs. He's got all of that. 2 years ago, he was the best quarterback in the game, and it wasn't even a contest. It wasn't even close. That doesn't take any of that away. I mean, I just don't know how anybody could justify that as their reasoning behind leaving him in the game going forward. I don't see it. I mean, you respect him. You don't trash him to the media. You don't trash him in the locker room. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But you're out there to try to win a football game. It's not about any one player and how their feelings are going to be affected by your decision making in the course of trying to win a game. And if Peyton is as classy and just noble, for lack of a better word, as he's painted to be in the eyes of the media and the viewers, he would certainly understand that. And I don't think that if that's your reasoning there, then I think you're crazy. I think you're out of your mind. There's no way that could possibly be considered a viable excuse. So anyway, that's number one. And number two, which I have a feeling might carry a little bit more weight in this situation. They're just simply afraid to sit him out, to tell him, to break the news to him. They're just simply scared to go and tell him, dude, you're not the guy anymore. You got to sit down. You got to give us the best chance to win. Let Brock go in there and let's make it happen. I think it's probably somewhere in the middle between those two. But I think the second explanation there carries some sort of weight in this situation. I don't think we've ever seen a quarterback command the line of scrimmage, the huddle, the locker room, what have you, the same way that he does. I mean, you'd hear stories about coaching meetings during the week of practice where he would run the meeting and be telling the assistant coaches what they needed to be doing. And I think that when you have a personality like that and a reputation like that across the league, I think that some level of nervousness, fear takes over when the time comes, when you know that it's time to move on and send a guy of that caliber out to pasture. But those are the only two reasons that make any sense to me. in the situation as possible reasons that he was not sat down at halftime of that game. Both reasons are ridiculous, and for any NFL coach or administrator, anybody in a role of power in the NFL, for them to justify those as reasoning in that situation, it's really sad, and I think it's very telling as to why this franchise has struggled in the postseason as much as they have since Elway retired in after the '98 season. So, but it was not pretty whatsoever on Denver's end of the ball. They got a little lucky at the end. They got a nice break. They took advantage of it. That was a nice drive. The running game, the offensive line played their very best of the whole day in that situation, and the defense, who played pretty well throughout again, stepped up and took care of business when they needed to. I mean, as a Broncos fan, I think you have to take it, but I think going into the next game, I don't know how you can look in the mirror and tell yourself that Peyton Manning starting at quarterback again is going to give you the best chance to beat a Patriots team that is better at game planning and more disciplined at maintaining their roles on the field than any team that I think we've ever seen in the history of this game. So home field advantage aside, I don't know how you don't favor the Patriots by at least a touchdown in this one. So anyway, but yeah, all four games, I thought I was extremely surprised, like everybody else, to see Seattle fall behind the way they did yesterday at Carolina. I wasn't shocked to see them turn it around and come back in the second half, but to fall behind 31-0 with that defense, regardless of where you're playing, I don't know if we're gonna see something like that ever again from that group. But I've talked about this on the last couple of shows. Regardless of who you are, regardless of what your personnel is, going to 3 Super Bowls in a row is really, 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 really hard. And there's a reason that only 2 teams in the history of the game have ever done that. Seattle. If you're a Seahawks fan, I don't think you can be too hot and bothered about what you saw. I would be surprised if you had Marshawn Lynch back on your roster next year. But Russell Wilson's, I don't think there's any question that he's one of the best young quarterbacks in the game, and he's got a lot of good days ahead of him. That defense is still obviously extremely good. You got Jimmy Graham coming back healthy next year. That offensive line's been playing pretty well. I was baffled at the lack of a pass rush early in that game, especially after how well they played last week in Minnesota. And I'm sure a lot of that last week playing in such a physical game in such freezing temperatures, that had to have had some effect on the slow start. You hear players talk about the day after a game not even being able to get out of bed because of how sore you are. I mean, just think about how much that's amped up after playing in -6 degree temperatures the week before. So I'm sure that had a little something to do with it. That's not to take away from Carolina. Those guys are really good. They've been the best team in the league all year long. That defense has played great. Cam Newton is playing the best that I've ever seen him play. And they deserve all the credit in the world for continuing to win the way that they have, and they're going to get their chance to keep doing that at home next week against the Arizona Cardinals. That's the line. I'm going to look at the lines, the very early Vegas lines going into next week, which I'm sure they might adjust a little bit over the course of the week. Carolina, Arizona, that game is in Charlotte. That's the late game next Sunday. The initial line is Panthers -3, which sounds about right. I think Arizona showed a lot bouncing back after looking terrible in the season finale to beat Green Bay on Saturday, and especially after such a bizarre, momentum-draining play like that Hail Mary to send it to overtime. When was the last time you saw a team win 2 games in a season on a 40-plus yard pass as time expired? Not win 2 games, but to have that happen at the end of regulation twice. Obviously, the first one they beat the Lions, second one they force overtime and end up losing to the Cardinals. But Green Bay. I figured they'd look a lot tougher this time out than they did when they played in Arizona earlier in the season and got smacked around pretty good. But the Cardinals, I think that had to have been good for their confidence to bounce back after a poor showing in their previous game against Seattle 2 weeks earlier. -3. Very early prediction. I think I would take the Cardinals to keep it a little bit closer than that. I think Carolina's going to find a way to win that one at home, but that's going to be pretty close. I think the Cardinals have a little bit deeper roster up and down. I think they're a little bit more talented than the Panthers are at just by a nose. Coaching wise, I think Bruce Arians has a significant advantage from a coaching standpoint over Ron Rivera. Even though Ron's put in a pretty good season, I think Arians does not get enough credit for his ability on the sideline to adjust to situations and to game plan. I think he's the second best in the league behind Bill Belichick, and I'm surprised that he doesn't get quite as much attention. So I think the coaching advantage is going to go to Arizona. So we'll see if Cam Newton can make enough plays another week to keep that train going for the Panthers. I think he will. I think that'll be close. I'll revisit this later in the week, but initial thoughts on this Monday is that the Panthers are going to find a way to win that one. Then on the AFC side, I'm a little surprised that the Patriots are only favored by 3.5 in this one, even though it's in Denver. I'm sure that's got to be the only thing carrying weight for the Broncos at this point. But I just don't know how you can watch those two teams playing and think that that's going to be as close as that. I think unless something catastrophic happens on the Patriots side or the Broncos defense puts in the best performance that any defense has ever put in the history of the game, you can't tell me that New England's defense is not going to completely take Denver's running game out of the picture and force Peyton to start throwing beyond his little 10-yard slants or bubble screens or outs or any of that. That's all he can do now. And you've got to know that Belichick's going to be watching that tape and he's going to be all ready to go for that. It's a no-brainer. So if you've got a chance to put your bets in before that line shifts, because I have a feeling that's going to grow by the end of the week. If you have a chance to put money down on New England -3.5 now, I would go for it as quick as you can, because that sounds like a steal to me at this point. It's going to be interesting. This will be meeting number 17 between Peyton and Brady. And I mean, how quickly that has shifted from a skill productivity standpoint, how quickly that's fallen out of from being pretty much neck and neck for the better part of this millennium. 39-year-old Peyton Manning is playing like a shell of himself in comparison to Brady at 38, who's still playing as well as he did 10 years ago. Yeah, meeting number 17. This will be the fifth time that those two face off in the AFC Championship, and it's interesting that I don't know how much numbers are going to hold up in this case, but they're 2-2 head to head when they meet in the title game, and Peyton has actually won the last two. One in 2006, and then in 2013. Both of those games at home. The home team has won both times that they've met in the conference championship. So, as a Broncos fan, here's hoping that the math, the data will hold up in this case, and for whatever reason, Peyton will somehow go back in time and turn into go back to 2013 mode and rekindle that fire, but I just don't see it. I really don't. Anyway, that's what we're looking at. That's what we got on the table going into next Sunday's conference championship weekend. The divisional round. I don't know how you could be disappointed with the outcome of all four of those games, unless your team lost. From an entertainment value, it was nice to see all of those go down to the wire the way that they did, and see four pretty good finishes. So, anyway, that does it for today's podcast. Keep an eye on the website. I'm gonna have a column up tomorrow. With about some NFL stuff. I'm gonna try to put one together on Wednesday and Thursday as well, and get back on the podcast on Friday to preview the conference championship slate for next Sunday. So anyway, this has been the Front Row Podcast. Y'all have a good one.